My name is Nicole Wesner, and I am the Eastern PA consultant for the Pennsylvania Tourettes Syndrome Alliance. I initially got started because I had a little guy. He was 4 turning 5, freshly diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome, not knowing where to go. We were enrolling him in kindergarten, and I went to them with a diagnosis, and at that point he was having some copralia, which was cursing, and they said, oh, that's not going to happen, he's going to have to be reprimanded, there's going to be consequences. And then from there I found the Pennsylvania Tourette's Syndrome Alliance, and they came and advocated for us. And ever since then I've been involved, and when I found a position open up, I jumped on it because it's just something I'm so passionate about. So us as consultants, what we do is we go into the schools and we help give what we call educator trainings, where we teach the teachers about Tourette's syndrome and what it could look like, and how it could affect the child and ways they can help them. Just really have them get a better understanding of Tourette's syndrome. We also do peer training. That's one of my favorite things to do, is go into the schools and educate the little kids and older kids about Tourette's syndrome, so there's no bullying, picking. I've learned that when you give the kids knowledge, the tics kind of become background noise for them. I also help assist in 504 meetings and IEP meetings, and overall just advocate for anyone with Tourette's syndrome, their families. I always say I treat all of my clients like they're my own kid because I'm so passionate about it. So no matter what the issue is, I just tell them to reach out to me, and I will do everything I can to help them. It is very difficult. For a child with Tourette's syndrome, growing up can be a confusing, complicated, rough go at sometimes. And that's just because a lot of the people in the world don't really understand what Tourette's syndrome is yet. They think of it as what they see on TV or in movies. We call the Hollywood version, where they only think somebody's cursing or yelling obscenities, but there's so much more that comes along with it. And our kiddos really struggle when they're having these tics in school. A lot of times they'll try to suppress them, which we don't want them to do, and that suppression can cause physical pain, physical uncomfortableness, not able to pay attention. These kids struggle with being bullied and picked on because they're appearing different, because they're making noises or they're making a movement that maybe the person next to them isn't doing. And when they come in, when it comes into the school setting, it can make schoolwork a lot harder. If they're ticking, let's say they have a blinking tic and they're blinking a lot, well, they're gonna need a little bit more time to read something or to get a problem done. And to the teachers, that could just appear as laziness. They're just not doing it in a timely manner. It could interfere with their test taking. If the kiddos are trying to suppress or hold tics in, well, guess what? They're not able to really focus on what the task is in front of them, so they're probably gonna get answers wrong sometimes. That could mean extended time or breaking the test down into chunks. It can be a real struggle for the kiddos in school when the environment they're in and those around them don't understand their diagnoses. I hate to say all of the time because, you know, nothing's ever 100%, but I've learned that almost all of the time going into a new setting, to a new school and a new group of teachers that this is their first child with Tourette's syndrome, they have no idea what they're getting into. A lot of times they think they have this preconceived notion that they know what Tourette's syndrome is. They know that this kiddo may have tics or they might make noises, but they really don't know that there is so much more that comes along with it. Tourette's syndrome is not just the outward tics or the vocal sounds. There's a lot more that comes along with it. So more often than not, I want to say 95%. I'd love to say 100, but I don't ever want to do that. I'd say 95%. A lot of them just have a misconceived notion of what Tourette's syndrome actually is. First and foremost, utilize our organization. That is what we're here for. We're here to spread knowledge and empower those who have Tourette's syndrome and to make sure more people understand what this diagnosis is. And so when we're able to go in and train those teachers, that means they get a much better understanding and a better grasp for that student, what their diagnosis is, and it helps them see between the lines. They're not being a behavioral disruption and they're not doing these things on purpose. We're helping teach those educators that these things these students are doing are uncontrollable and they don't want to be doing them. So when we give them the information, we also help them find ways to find great accommodations within the classroom setting, We help offer resources to help them throughout the school year. If a problem arises, we encourage them to reach out to us so we can help work through it. Any information they can get about Tourette syndrome is going to be better than nothing or what they think it is. So any new information, any new teachings that they could learn about Tourette syndrome is going to help them and their student. Oh, I would love for them to reach out to me. I would love to help anyone that isn't already involved in our organization because we can offer them so much. When a child is struggling and suffering in school because of their diagnoses, it's so important to get in there and make sure those educators know and understand what their diagnosis is. We want them to know what Tourette is. We want them to know that along with it could be ADHD or OCD, and we want them to find ways to accommodate them so their school setting is easier. And if the child or kiddo is being bullied, we want to make sure those other kids are educated as well so that kid's not being picked on. So I would really encourage the families to reach out to our organization and see what we can do for them. We can help advocate for them in the school setting, outside the school setting. We have so many fun things that happen throughout the year, like our summer camp and our retreats and fun runs that they can get involved in, and their kids can get involved with other kids just like them so they don't feel isolated or alone, because there's many others like them. So I would really just encourage them to reach out to me if they haven't already.